schönen guten Morgen und Vormittag aus Zagreb, aus Kroatien. Mein Name ist Gerhard Schlattl. Ich bin der österreichische Wirtschaftsdelegierte der Wirtschaftskammer Österreich hier in Zagreb in Kroatien und heiße Sie recht herzlich willkommen zu unserem Webinar Zulieferchancen im Gesundheitsmarkt, Gesundheitstourismusmarkt in Kroatien. Wir setzen dieses Webinar im Rahmen der Go International Internationalisierungsoffensive um und freue mich sehr, dass wir hier jetzt einen neuen Schwerpunkt als Außenwirtschaftscenter setzen. Wir bespielen sehr viele Themen, sehr viele Branchen und mit dem Gesundheitsbereich, Gesundheitssektor, MedTech, aber vor allem auch Gesundheitstourismus wollen wir in den nächsten 2,5 Jahren einen ganz besonderen Schwerpunkt legen in unseren Aktivitäten. Das heutige Webinar zum Thema ist sozusagen der Auftakt zu unserem neuen IO, Go International Branchenfokus Health. Heute freut es mich, dass ich Ihnen zwei ausgewiesene Experten vorstellen kann, die Ihnen dann zahlreiche Informationen zum kroatischen Markt geben werden. Einerseits Herr Professor Vladimir Mositic vom Kvarner Health Cluster und andererseits auch Herr Ivan Rendulic von Zagreb Med. Durchführen durch dieses heutige Webinar wird sie mein Kollege in meinem Team, Herr Marko Stipanovic. Er ist der neue Go International Key Account Manager für den Bereich Health und baut die gesamten Aktivitäten, die wir für österreichische Unternehmen anbieten werden, über die nächsten 2,5 Jahre auf. Damit bin ich schon am Ende meiner Einleitung. Bitte nutzen Sie die Möglichkeit, dass Sie Fragen stellen, laufen permanent im Chat. Diese werden dann am Ende gemeinsam bei der Q&A-Session mit unseren Experten in Kroatien beantwortet. Ich gebe damit das Wort an meinen Kollegen Marko Stipanovic weiter. Wir werden danach, er gibt Ihnen noch ein paar technische Details zum Webinar, zum Ablauf, aber dann werden wir auf Englisch umswitchen. Marco, the floor is yours. Dankeschön.
Ja, vielen Dank für die Einleitung, Herr Schlattl. Also from my side, hello to everyone. Ein herzliches Grüß Gott nach Österreich. Našim predavačima dobrodošli. The language of this webinar, as you already know, is going to be English. But of course, if you have any specific questions, you're not sure how exactly to formulate them, it's also fine to write them in German, and my colleagues and I are going to translate everything. In general, about questions during the webinar, whenever a question arises, feel free to just use the chat and write your questions immediately. At the end of the webinar, when all of the presentations are over, we are going to go through all of the questions and we're going to answer them one by one. Yeah, so far so good. I think that was enough talking from me. All of you here are today here to listen to our experts. So let's start with their presentations. At first, I would like to welcome a very busy man. He is a neurologist with decades of experience. He has his own polyclinic, works as a consultant in a few additional ones. And as if that weren't enough, he's also president of the Kvarner Health Cluster for over 10 years now. It's an honor to have you here today. Thank you for your time, Professor Vladimir Mositic.
Yeah. Thank you, and of course, thank you to Advantage Austria and Gerhard and Marco to organize this webinar, and I'm very happy that Ivan, who is my friend and business partner, is with me to present the possibilities of cooperation between Croatia and Austria. And thank you, Marco, for the introduction. Just in short, I will go a little bit forward. So I'm basically a medical doctor, urologist, last 30 years in urology and more than 20 years in healthcare management, both in private and public sector. And nowadays, I'm the owner, CEO, and urologist in my private polyclinic. But today here I am as a president of Kvarner Health Tourism Cluster. And I will have 3 parts of my presentation. In first, I will show you very shortly the history of health tourism in our region as well as in Croatia, and you will see why our region was chosen by the basically Austrians in last century to be the micro-region for the health tourism. Later on, I will present the cluster as the association and what we are doing. And in the third part, I will show you how we can communicate both in health industry and health tourism. Please, Marco, we can go forward. So everything started 180 years ago. This year in November, we will have in Opatija the celebration of 180 years of health tourism and climatic health resorts in Croatia. Everything starts in Opatija and later on through the coastal part of the city of Crikvenica and the island of Lošinj. The continental part of Croatia starting few decades later, but we all have more than 140 years tradition in health tourism and the using of natural healing resources. As you may see that poster on the left side where it said Abacia di Perle de Radia, it's from 1904, which means 120 years ago, in which is described that the season is from January to November, so almost the whole year with 60 hotels and lots of attractions on the Adria. So the tradition is present here. Marco, please, next. And why is this? Because due to microclimate situation, we have the great and clean air as well as the natural healing resources. Why is that? Next, please, Marco. Because we are surrounded by the mountains on the north, islands on the south, shores on the east, and peninsula on the west. Our county, it's named Primorje Gorski Kotar County, but basically we use the name Kvarner from the Latin language Quaternarus. The reason is that we are surrounded by the 4 different kind of geographical components, and due to that reason, natural healing resources as well as the quality of the sea are on the high level. We have 7 big islands. We have the mountain part as well the shore and peninsula. Next, please. That's the reason why we use during the process of living there the natural healing resources from the herbs as well as the quality of the food, olive oil and seawater. You may see on your right side the product which conquered 10% of world market of nasal decongester, which is produced by our biggest pharmaceutical company. I will later mention because they are the members of our cluster, and the product is well known, Aquamaris. They are using the seawater, sterilized seawater, as a product to conquer 10% of world market. Please, next. Except the health and well-being, we in our region have other brands like Kvarner Family, Kvarner Food, Kvarner Gourmet, but something which is connected directly with the health, Kvarner biking and hiking trails. And of course, in last 2 years, we have one brand which is called Kvarner Wines. Otherwise, we are very good connected with other parts of Europe with 6 airports which are nearby, and probably, as you well know, we have in whole Croatia very good highways, which means that we can conquer the all very specific geographic position of Croatia as well as the view in few hours with very good connections with other part of the Europe. And we have one sentence which is used, diversity is beautiful, so that diversity from the mountain part, coastal part and islands is very important. Please, next. So our cluster this year in November 2 will have 10th anniversary, so we will have one celebration, and now we have 39 members, 39 companies with more than 9,500 employees, in which are 5,000 medical staff from 3 different sectors. One is health, with private and public health institutions, both medical and dental, as well as the health industry. I mentioned previously the biggest Croatian pharmaceutical company, Jadran Galenski Laboratory, JGL, it's our member. The second part, it's touristic part. We have 7 biggest touristic chains which are situated in our region, as well as the 6 touristic boards from the main cities, from Rijeka, Opatija, Crikvenica, Lošinj, as well as the regional touristic board. And we have the touristic agency who conquer all the things we need when we send the offer to our customers. And the third part, which is not less important, are the faculties, as well as our university as a partner with 3 faculties who are our members: Faculty of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Faculty of Economy, and Faculty of Dental Medicine. Next. So what are our main goals? First of all, and what we offer as in a healthcare sector, due to local, not just natural healing resources, but the companies who can offer. First of all, preventive, personalized, integrative medicine. The second one is lifestyle medicine, which include dental part, minimal invasive aesthetic procedures, nutritional part, so everything what is in meaning of lifestyle medicine, physical and mental rehabilitation, and active and healthy aging. Why this? Because in surrounding of 500 kilometers from where we are, we have 76 million inhabitants, in which are 50 million older than 60 years. It means that one of the niches are there. Please, next. We have the variety of health centers. I mentioned they are both private and public, medical and dental, from the clinical hospital center, which is main hospital, public hospital in our region, one of the 4 in Croatia, as well as the special hospitals for cardiac or respiratory rehabilitation, as well as the private polyclinic who offer a different kind of specialties. The next, please. We have some of the top dental clinics as our members. The dental tourism is one of the leading segments in our region. In the last 4 years, we have more than 205,000 medical tourists who are coming in our region for the medical reasons, both from for the medical and dental part. Dental, it's now around 70% of our customers who are coming in our region. Next, please. We combine medical wellness and spa, both in hotels and hotel chains I mentioned previously, as well as in our special hospitals, who are offering the programs, specific programs in wellness as spa, which means that they're using all benefits which we have in our region to combine that segment of lifestyle medicine and physical and mental rehabilitation. Please, next. And of course, we have the large possibilities of outdoor activities, which are included in the whole program of rehabilitation and preventive medicine. Those outdoor activities we are using both near the sea or on islands, as well as on the mountain parts, which include hiking, biking, exercises on the open, as well as the sailing programs. We have one very specific situation that we can, during the winter season, in the same day, skiing and sailing, because our nearest skiing spot, it's half hours from the sea. And next, please. Another segment which is not less important, that we have a very quality gastronomic nutritional offer with a very specific Mediterranean food, which combine in all programs. We have it due to medical services. We have it, as well as we use that in experimental and research and development segments to produce the new kind and better food, to have the most value of the ingredients we use in not just tourism segment, but in medical segment too. Please next. And of course, something which we offer in complete all-in-one segment, it's culture and heritage, because in our region, in decades, we produced a new segment of culture as well as the heritage. We have it in our region, and of course we include the culture and heritage in all medical programs. We have it as a segment of well-being. Next, please. So, as I mentioned, we as a cluster in segment of health tourism, with our members, we can offer everything from the transfer boat by planes or by the land, health services in medical and dental segment, accommodation in our members' hotels or private accommodation, healthy nutrition, outdoor activities, and culture as a part of all segments. Why is this? Because during the nowadays we have a completely new paradigm in health services. First of all, it's preventive sickness, promoting well-being for all, be personalized, be less invasive and more preventative, needs to be patient-centered, and of course we use digital tools as well. Another segment which I want to show you, it's connected with health tourism, it's health industry, or our main goal to become the region of health and well-being, not just as a region, but as Croatia at all. So due to that reason, we are very well connected with our partners from Graz, from Health Innovation Hub, and we've been a participant on international interregional workshop in Graz on the February with new segments of all. Why? Because we want to introduce the health as one of the very important segments of overall quality of life. Other segments are mentioned on the slide. Please next. So due to become the region of health and well-being, accept our goals I mentioned previously for medicine, we are working on preservation of quality of natural healing sources, availability of human resources, which is really important, quality of environment, availability of infrastructure, use the principle of social sustainability, and of course, development of destination management, as well as in our region, we send that to the national level too. We start with the health industry as smart specialization in our region in 2016. This is part of our strategies. So all those segments we are mentioned there, from biomedicine, pharmaceuticals, artificial intelligence, telemedicine, robotics, virtual medicine, health tourism as a part of it, are already incorporated in communication in stakeholders in our region, from medical part to the entrepreneurship, and as well as our university. Not without a purpose, because everything is added in strategies in our key sectors until 2030. You may see that we have the blue growth, green growth, health as well, smart industry, and high value added services. You may see that in healthcare sector we have priority niches in which we are working. One is future pharmaceutical industry, personalized medicine, health and wellness tourism, and food for well-being. Due to that reason, we are now established the Center for Development of Innovation in Health Industry and Health Tourism with our partners, pharmaceutical industry, university, Ericsson, Nikola Tesla as IT industry, our regional development agency, and European Digital Innovation Hub, Adria, which have the headquarters in Rijeka. You may see that we are talking about the educational research and development as well as the improvement of new products and services in healthcare sector. Our biggest pharmaceutical industry, JGL, they are now produced new products. They have more than 150 products on the market. They have new expansion of production capabilities and robotic logistic and distribution center, and they of course communicate worldwide about the partners. And European Digital Innovation Hub, as I mentioned previously, has three sectors in which we are very included. First of all, health and quality of life. Another one is transport and mobility. And third is energy and sustainable development, which means that all can be included in segments of health tourism, but of course at health industry as itself. Due to that reason, we are well good connected from the private and public sector, entrepreneurship, civil sector. Of course, we need the politics too, to push them forward with those ideas, and university and someone who collect that. Why? Because it's much more easy to share the data, to be much more visible. We need to change our behavior, and definitely we need to have the scientific approach. And on the end, I'd like to show you in which way we can collaborate both in segments of health tourism and clusterization. We need to make in connection and communication institutions, both in medical education as well as the touristic segments. We need to include insurance companies. We already have the branches of Unica and Merkur Insurance from Austria, but we work with other insurances as well. We need to think about regional cooperation on level of Alpe-Adria region, which means that we already have the partners from Slovenia, Northern Italy, and Austria. We need to include touristic agencies for organized segments of the tourism as well as the health tourism, work together on research development. We need to use digital transformation as a nowadays normal way of communication. And of course, we can cooperate on educational processes to have the same protocols or not. And on the end, thank you very much for the possibility to have this cooperation. We are at this presentation. We are very well connected, and Ivan will mention later on that the communication with both ministries as well as the Croatian Touristic Association as well as the Croatian Chamber of Economy are our partners. And about the businesses in our region, we have the great video on YouTube about how we can do it business in smart region, which is our Primorje Gorski Kotar County. Thank you for now, and I'm open for later on questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Mozetic. I'm going to continue from further. Unfortunately, because of a medical emergency, who was supposed to be our second expert today, Ms. Zorica Capar. She's the director of the Zagreb Health Cluster. She won't be here today, but I was talking to her on the phone for quite some time, and we've discussed that I'm going to make a very quick, short version of her presentation, and later on leave some more space for our experts and the discussion. So Zagorje health cluster, it's the health cluster of the Krapina-Zagorje county here in Croatia. As you can see in the presentation, I think the county itself has a quite well-made marketing slogan, Bajka na dlanu, or fairy tale at hand. Why does it have that? I think everybody who was there once knows it. This region is completely green, and it has a lot of tiny hills, so it actually looks like you're in a fairy tale. What's special about that region? Basically, same like Professor Mozetic said about the Kvarner region. It's even closer to Austria. You're in just 1 hour in Graz, for example, in 3 hours in Vienna, but also to countries like Slovenia, Italy, or also southern Germany. The connection is very fast. A little bit about the history of the health tourism in the Krapina-Zagorje county. It already started during ancient Roman times, where the Roman soldiers went to thermal baths there. Why especially there? Because in the whole region, there's a lot of thermal springs. For example, in the small village of Stubičke Toplice, Ms. Capar told us that at the spring there, the natural temperature of the water is 65 degrees Celsius. So in their wellness center, also in the hospital there, they don't need to spend any money at all on heating, because they're heating everything with thermal spring water. After the Romans, of course, also during the Austrian monarchy, this place was very well known for its health tourism. On the one side, we had the maritime spot, which was mainly Opatia, the Kvarner, but also as a spot, another destination on the land was Krapina-Zagorje as a county. And then furthermore, as more and more of, I would say that today, mass tourism was starting. More people went to the sea, just wanted to be at the sun. So this region kind of transformed into a region for patients who need some specific rehabilitation, or mostly pensioners, older people over 60, 65 years old. What the Krapina-Zagorje county wants to be today, of course, the traditional health part, the spa and the wellness, are still the priority number one. That's the most recognizable about the region. But furthermore, they want to develop and also take care of family vacations, use the already built infrastructure of hotels for business tourism, and also, of course, be more active, promote sports and adventure vacations in this region. In general, from all of the other health institutions which are there, the health cluster has over 25 members. That I don't bore you with all of the 25. I'm going to list the most specific, notable ones. As the first one, definitely the best, or one of the best hospitals of Croatian veterans is in Zabok in this region. Besides that, there are 3 spas or wellness centers in just over 15 to 20 kilometers from one each other, and they're full all year through. Then the special rehabilitation clinic, Stubičke Toplice, where Ms. Capar is also the director, from all over Croatia, but also from other European countries like Austria, Slovenia, or Italy. Patients are coming for rehabilitation after some operations to the Zagorje county. And the last 2 ones I would like to mention are also Specijalna bolnica Katarina, which has one hospital in Zagreb, the other one in Zabok. And the last one is Klinika Magdalena. It's a special hospital for cardiovascular diseases, and it's the biggest, probably the best private one in Croatia, if we talk about this topic. And in general, as I basically mentioned on the 2 slides before, to look a bit to the future, definitely the biggest strengths of this region is the long tradition and the thermal springs, which they have. So they want to build on that. But furthermore, the region wants to develop, the county wants to develop to become an up-to-date, modern, high-quality destination for health tourism in general. At the end, just a small picture so you can see also the tiny hills of which I was talking about. Our second expert who is here today, I would like to introduce you, the founder of the platform Zagreb Med. He's also CEO of the consultancy company Rexrea, working with the European Health Medical Tourism Association, or maybe with other words, whenever there's a congress about health tourism in Europe, sometimes also all over the world, the chances are very high that you're going to meet him there as an expert. So yeah, thank you also for your time. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Ivan Rendolic.
Thank you, Marco, for this introduction and the opportunity to speak. Also, very big thanks to Gerhard. And I would like to also thank Professor Mozetić for the earlier introduction as he put it, a business partner and a friend. I say it's good until Professor Mozetić introduced me as his patient. So as far as it's not like this, it's all good. My role today is to shortly present you Zagreb as the medical hub in Croatia and having the leading role for medicine in Croatia. I will give you a short introduction on who is who, so who are the main players in the both public and the private healthcare sector. And also I will give you a short outline on how the whole procurement procedure looks when working with these healthcare providers. Marco, yeah, thank you so much. So just a quick background information. So I'm the CEO of Rexrea, which is a private healthcare consultancy company. And since 2014, health tourism was put in the main focus of Rexrea, and we are developing both the B2C and B2B channels. Our main area of activity is business development, strategic planning, consultancy, and also patient facilitation. That means that we work directly with patients looking for healthcare services, primarily inbound to Croatia, but we also work with numerous patients and agents with different countries abroad. And we work closely with the Croatian Chamber of Economy, Ministry of Health of Croatia, City of Zagreb, Zagreb Tourist Board, and also Croatia Airlines, which is our airline company partner. And we are, as Marco mentioned, active in all major congresses and conferences related to health tourism in Europe and also abroad. I just came back from the United States, taking part in Saratoga Springs at the HDTA conference just last week. We are the founders of the Zagreb Med platform. I will give you a little bit more information about Zagreb Med a little bit later. I'm also the president nominee of the European Health and Medical Tourism Association, which is going to be chartered in Brussels by the end of the year. We organize public health events also called the Veze za zdravlje. We work with also European insurance companies, and we are the exclusive partners in Croatia for working with banks through the Money Back platform. This is a cooperation which just started now, and we are working with the leading banks in Croatia, Romania, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Austria, and by the end of the year, we'll also include banks from Italy and Germany. Marco, next slide, please. So for the beginning, just to give you a few interesting facts about healthcare in Zagreb and overall in Croatia. So in terms of Zagreb, we say that Zagreb is a center of medical excellence. We have the School of Medicine in Zagreb, which originates from the 19th century. It's also worth mentioning that the pharmacy in Zagreb is more than 700 years old. Croatia was the 7th country in the world to successfully perform IVF. This was done 41 years ago. So we are one of the leading or the first countries in the world to do so. Today, Croatia facilitates more than 250,000 international medical patients. This is every year, and this is not including also health and wellness patients, which come on top of that. What's really interesting to mention that we have one hospital, which is the European Center of Excellence for Organ Transplants. And what we are good at is that we are excelling in early diagnostics. Where we are bad is that we have rather negative results considering oncology patient treatments. So we are one of the worst countries in EU to do so. And we also have a huge problem with obesity in Croatia. So I think that we are #1 in EU when it comes to obesity. And we have innovative projects like Zagreb Med, which is now developing health tourism in a modern and innovative way in Croatia and specifically Zagreb. Some additional fields, medical fields where Croatia excels is orthopedics. It's often said that Croatia has the second best orthopedics in Europe just after France. We have innovative regenerative medicine, treatment centers for stem cell therapy, exosomes, overall body rejuvenation. And also we have a very long tradition of natural healing factors, as Professor Mozitic mentioned earlier. Marco, next slide, please. So Zagreb is the main hub for medicine in Croatia, and we have, of course, the largest number of private and public hospitals located in the city in terms of the nation. And they are, of course, separated into public providers and private medical providers. What the main important difference between them, of course, apart from the ownership, is the procurement procedures applied to them. So all public healthcare providers are subject to the Public Procurement Act. And the Public Procurement Act goes to the National Portal for Public Procurement. In Croatia, everything is done through public procedures. It's a very strict system put in place with its roles and procedures that need to be followed. And it's a rather long process and exhaustive process, and it's related to the public providers. When we speak about, to the public providers, and when we speak about private providers, they're not subject to the Public Procurement Act, and all of the procurement procedures run by private providers are done in accordance with their own internal rules and regulations. So it's much more easier to do business with private providers. But we have to say that when we look at the value of healthcare industry in Croatia, which is currently now around 5.5 billion euros, 85% of that is done with the public providers. So the procedure is more difficult with the public providers, but the money is in majority there. The private sector is growing more and more, and we expect that within the next 3 years, the private healthcare system is going to be reaching around $1 billion value. But as it is at the moment, majority is still, and it's going to be for a long time, within the public providers. And then these public providers are separated into two main fields. One are clinics, and then one are hospitals. Clinics are then, depending on the size, either the clinic centers, which we have 2 of them, and Zagreb is also the national clinic center of Croatia. Then we have clinical hospitals, which are also large-scale hospitals covering a lot of disciplines, but each of them being unique in a way. For example, Dubrava Clinic Hospital is, as I mentioned earlier, is organ transplant center of excellence in Europe. They have done more than 4,000 organ transplants so far. Just this year, they had a unique case of having a patient who had 5 organs transplanted at once. And then we have also Dubrava is the unique center for intravenous radiology in Croatia, only doing so. Then Sveti Duh, which is a center of excellence for ophthalmology. So each of these hospitals are also unique in its own way. And it's also important that from the ownership perspective, some are state-owned, some are county-owned, and some are city-owned. So not to bother you too much in the detail, but it's also very important to mention that. And then when we look at the private providers, they are separated into clinics or special hospitals, meaning large-scale medical providers, and then we have polyclinics, which are like a smaller-scale medical providers. Some private healthcare providers work with the Croatian National Healthcare Insurance Fund, but majority of them do not and work only with private patients directly. Marco, next slide, please. Now I would like to give you a quick overview of the leading private healthcare providers in Zagreb in each medical fields, although for some of them it's hard to differentiate because they are multidisciplinary. But I will just go quickly through the list, and then later on, if you have any more questions about them, I'm happy to answer. So we have a modern radiosurgery center called Radiochirurgia Zagreb. This was just opened a couple of years ago, and they're also, in terms of income, the largest private healthcare providers in Croatia. Then we have two famous orthopedic hospitals. One is Acromion, one is Aritera, where Acromion is a completely only orthopedic hospital. Aritera is primarily orthopedic hospital, but also offers some other medical services. Then when it comes to general surgery, Magdalena Hospital is the largest one. Although Magdalena is a cardio surgery, and the head office of Magdalena is not located actually in Zagreb, it's in Krapina, but we have listed them here because they have their own polyclinic here in Croatia, and they're very important to mention. Then we have Agram Hospital, which is a general surgery, orthopedic, cardiology, general diagnostics hospital, which has an income of more than 20 million euros. Then we have St. Catherine Hospital, a very famous center of excellence for orthopedic surgery and rehabilitation, but they also have general surgery and a lot of general diagnostics. Then when we look at general diagnostics, the biggest center is called Medical, and then Croatia Polyclinic, which is owned by the Croatian Insurance Company, and then Aviva. Next, Marco, please. When it comes to ophthalmology, the biggest and the most famous player is Clinic Svijetlost. Svijetlost has more than 25 years experience in ophthalmology. They're also the first private university hospital in Croatia. Then we have Optical Express and Bilic Vision. We have a significant number of ophthalmology patients being treated every year. Svijetlost alone has more than 800,000 ophthalmology patients treated so far. Then when it comes to aesthetics, dermatology, the biggest players here are Bagatin Clinic. Bagatin is primarily an aesthetic and dermatology clinic, but also for cosmetology and the dentistry. IMED is primarily a dental clinic, but also they have a very strong aesthetic surgery department. And then we have Sintesa Clinic, which is one of the fastest growing polyclinics in Croatia currently. Then from the laboratories, the biggest three players are Synlab, LabPlus, and Medirad. And then when we look at the dentistry, so our dental clinics are the biggest drivers in terms of dental tourism. So mainly working with patients from Italy, Austria, DACH region, and also other countries. The biggest player there is Ars Salutaris. Then we have Dental Center Ostojić and Arena Dental. Next, obstetrics and gynecology. Although in terms of money-wise, it's not such a big market because it's heavily regulated. The biggest players here are IVF Zagreb, which, as I mentioned, is one of the first to do IVF successfully in the world. This was more than 40 years ago. IVF Zagreb is also part of Pronatal Group, which is the second largest chain of IVF clinics in Europe, and which is also then part of Medicon Group from Czech Republic. And then we have Eluga and Schwartz. And then next is pediatrics. Pediatrics is a fast-growing and an important field for private healthcare in Croatia. Here we have Helena Clinic, Sveti Duh, and Sabo. And then we have three neurosurgery and neurorehabilitation clinics, which is Glavic, Neurospine, and Rotim. But Neurospine and Rotim belong to the same owner, so they could be even grouped as one, and then being the main player for neurosurgery and neurorehabilitation. Now, also just to give a quick introduction on who are the main players of in the healthcare industry in terms of ownership. So just to, I try to differentiate them somehow. to clinics which are insurance company owned. So Agram Clinic, which was one of the largest fund for general surgery, is owned by the Agram Life Insurance Company, which is the largest private Croatian life insurance company. And then we have the Croatia Insurance, which is owner of the Croatia Polyclinic. And then it's very important to mention that we have Arsano Medical Group, which has within its own portfolio Aviva Diagnostic, 2000, Ura Center, Dr. Nemec, Aritera, and so on. And also they have in partnership Arena Dental, which has the largest number of dental clinics in Croatia. And Arsano Medical and Arena Dental are both part of Provectus, or I would say both owned by Provectus investment fund. So we have now the situation that investment funds are moving more and more into the healthcare sector and taking over medical providers. Then we have Affidea Group, which has a list of 5 owned clinics. And then we have now another investment fund called Futura Partners, which took over Synteza Skin Clinic, also Markušić and Sabol, which are now all very fast growing clinics in Croatia. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I want to give you a short outline into how the future of development of health tourism in Croatia looks like from my own perspective, looking at all of the trends. So first thing that we see is that we expect an increase on overall patients to Croatia for different kinds of medical services. This is because the trend of health tourism or seeking healthcare abroad is rising, especially in Europe. We also have a lot of challenges when it comes to healthcare in other European countries. So people are forced to go out of their own countries of living to seek healthcare, and Croatia here plays a very interesting role. I see that, working with patients daily, that we have an increase in patient interest from, Central European countries, the UK, Scandinavian countries. More and more people are facing healthcare challenges in their own countries and looking for solutions abroad. And also, from my own perspective, I expect an increase of dental patients. So we have, 40 years steady growth of dental patients coming primarily from Italy, but now we have growing challenges or competition from neighboring countries like Hungary, like Serbia, like Albania, where more and more Italian patients are now going for dental services. Then also, I expect that we're going to have a continued increase of direct investments into the private sector. So as I said, private sector is growing in terms of its market share, and we expect that it's going to be reaching by 1 billion euros within the next 3 years. Also, as Professor Mojcic said and showed, that health tourism in Croatia started with natural healing centers in Opatija. This is the history of health tourism in Croatia. I expect it also to be the backbone and the future of health tourism in Croatia. We have an investment of 120 million euros currently ongoing into 13 natural thermal centers in Croatia. These are all public ones, and I expect them to have a very important role of development of health tourism in the future. Then, of course, we know that the future of healthcare is digital, so I expect more and more innovative digital solutions to be implemented, like the Zagreb Med project and other similar projects. And what we are now working strongly on together, Professor Mojcic and me, is having a strong cooperation between key stakeholders in Croatia, getting together key healthcare clusters, and also working with the public authorities, and having mutual strategic projects of developing health tourism in Croatia. And next slide, please. And I'm gonna, Marco, please. Yeah, thank you. So I'm gonna wrap up with just a quick introduction into Zagreb Med, which we mentioned before. So I'm the founder of Zagreb Med, and it's a free-to-use platform which enables a simple and safe booking of health services in renowned private institutions in Zagreb and all of Croatia. And this is a B2C and B2B channel. That means that we work directly with patients seeking healthcare services in Croatia. These are domestic patients and patients from abroad, primarily from Europe, and we also develop B2B channels. We work with insurance companies that are looking to book medical services in Croatia, so we enable this seamless process for them through an automated digital communication channel that insurance companies communicate with clinics, receive personalized offers for treatment of their insurers, and this is all completely free to use. And also one important digital project that I would mention, Marco, next slide, please, is a digital platform I recently noticed. It's called PharmTU, which is a B2B platform which connects manufacturers of medical products and equipment with pharmacies, hospitals, and clinics. And such trends of having developed digital platforms which provide automated process in terms of booking or communication or procurement is what I think that the future is going to be developed around, that we have more and more complex solutions which are basically going to be then providing very simple solutions to the clients, be it B2C or B2B. And on that note, I would like to end my presentation, and thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rendelic. Also very interesting presentation. Yeah, as we only have a few more minutes left, let's go over to the Q&A. So please use the chat. You can start writing your questions. I'm going to start with a few questions which some of you already sent me before. Do cooperations with Austrian health insurance providers exist? I think Mr. Professor Mozetic already said something about this. So yeah, I think this question is done basically, or already answered. Next question, how is the quality of the clinics compared to Austrian ones? Maybe Mr. Ren, Professor.
Maybe I can answer because the most of the clinics has the protocols which are on the level of the European Union, because there is the same law which it needs to use that. The education of staff, it's on the high level as well as the equipment. So some of the medical institutions, I'm talking on the level of Croatia, not just of the Kvarner region, they have international certificates, but due to European Union laws as well as the previous Croatian laws, the medical protocols are on the high level. So both in private and public, of course, in private, maybe on the higher level, the quality of services as well as the quality of accommodation are on the high level.
Yeah, I would like to confirm that. I also, when I'm traveling abroad, I have the opportunity to visit some of the hospitals abroad and to see, because it's important for me to be able to compare. And I can confirm, as Professor Mostic said, we are in a Croatian private clinics are completely in line with EU laws and regulations, and most of them are very new and completely refurbished or redone. So we have really outstanding medical facilities here in terms of private ones, of course. And we also have several completely new hospitals which have just recently been built. And one of the hospitals which we haven't mentioned so far is a hospital in Chepin near Osijek, which has its own, which is the first hospital in Croatia to obtain a Da Vinci robot also. So we have a lot of investments going into the healthcare sector, and these are really on the highest level. And I've compared hospitals from Germany, I've compared hospitals from Turkey, and with that I'm fully confident to have the patients brought here for treatment. And also I have so far I have worked with more than 10,000 patients here in Croatia, and I can tell you that all of them speak very highly of the level of medical care.
And another thing which is which is really important, all institutions has the follow-up, not just only the medical services, but the follow-up of the patients, which is really important, and have the communications with the medical staff in domestic countries as well as the other staff need, and they stay in contact with the patients.
Perfect. I can see another question in the chat. It's in German, but okay. Could you tell us, please, which hospitals are making most of the operations in orthopedics, for example, knees or shoulders and hips?
Yeah.
Ivan already mentioned two hospitals in Zagreb, which are Akromion and Aritera, and we have in our region the hospital Nemec, who are well known, as well as the previous mentioned two hospitals in orthopedic surgery.
Thank you.
As well as after the surgery, the rehabilitation processes, both in those hospitals as well as the other institutions who are connected with orthopedic hospitals.
Great. Next question. Is point of care diagnostics in pharmacies, dental offices, or other institutions allowed, and is there a trend towards that? Maybe Mr. Endlich, do you know something about that, or?
Yeah, so the question is, I don't know what is it meant by point of care primarily. So maybe
if you could, the person who asked the question, if you could specify what you mean with point of care. Another question: are infection protection systems used in hospitals?
Now it's mentioned what it means of that about the rapid test or the. I will going back. Any medical device or product which is in Croatian hospitals are certified by the European Union, as well as the protocols which are used, which means that if we want to have the check about the possible infections or what we will do later on, they are signed in the protocols. Otherwise, we cannot do those kinds, not just for the foreigner patients, as well as for the domestic patients too.
Thank you very much. I can see there are more and more questions incoming, but unfortunately, we're running out of time. But that's no problem.
I would say, Marco, let's tackle two more of the questions.
Okay. How big is the market in dental tourism in Croatia? Where do your patients mostly come from? The market in Turkey has had the big share. How do mostly these dental tourists pay? Private insurance?
I can answer that, and Ivan can go forward. I mentioned previously that we have in our region last 4 years 250,000 medical tourists, and 75% of those are from dental part. Mainly they're from Italy, but now are coming from Austria, Slovenia, as well as from Great Britain. Of course, we cannot compare with the market of Turkey because Croatia it's too small, but definitely and there here is mentioned how they are paying. They are paying from the pocket money, so there is no insurances for the dental services in Croatia for private segments. But it's organized not just medical service, but the hotel accommodation if it's need. So there, as I answered, nowadays the dental tourism it's one of the biggest medical tourism or health tourism market in Croatia.
Yeah, I fully agree on that. So dental tourists are the majority of all international health patients coming to Croatia. In Zagreb, we have cases that we had patients that the costs were covered by the insurance company. This was primarily for patients coming from Germany. But, you know, almost all of them are out of pocket paying their own.
Okay. And the last question, for today is going to be, how do you see the business potential for an all-in-one cloud-based and AI-powered admin platform for healthcare providers?
That's the question of all questions, because there are day-by-day informations about that. There are many companies who are offered that the services. Definitely, we have our domestical as well as the foreigner companies who are offered those possibilities, and we are both open for the communications about that, and we can spread that information. I saw previously to all stakeholders who can make decision if the processes will go forward, as well as we are running some projects on it which are funded by EU funds.
I have one last question, a question that Austrian companies in the health sector and producers of health equipment or software are asking us on a regular basis. The question is as follows. Is it easier to directly supply to polyclinics and the purchasing procurement departments there directly from Austria, or let's say from Germany, so basically directly from the company, or are also those private clinics in Croatia going via certified importers of medical equipment and software, etc.? This is, I think, a question that is relevant for basically all Austrian companies in this sector. So to cut it short, go directly to the customer as the clinic or via a certified importer in Croatia. What would you say, Mr. Rendulic, perhaps first?
So there's no simple answer to this question. I would say more towards working with local distributors, because it's important for the medical providers also to have the local network of support for supply, for refurbishment, for training, for education, for licensing, whatever is needed. So as far as I know, that most of the big manufacturers in terms of medical equipment, which is a significant number, of course, in different medical fields, worked with the main distributors here in Croatia. So it's done through the distribution network, and few of them worked with manufacturers from their own sourcing countries directly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I give to Marco to conclude.
Thank you all. I can see a few questions, unfortunately, we were not able to answer, but that's not a problem at all. Please send us your questions over zagreb@vko.at. We are going to be happy to answer all of your questions, whatever you need. Maybe also ask our experts about that. We're going to follow up on those things. And for the end of our presentation today, I would like to give you maybe just a short sneak peek of what's going to happen further next year. Maybe one date which is interesting for the Austrian companies is the 13th and 14th of March. The Austrian Chamber of Commerce is organizing the Health Days event, and we're going to be with a small Croatian delegation also in Vienna. So maybe we can get in touch, see each other in person already there. But furthermore, maybe even more important, of course, this webinar was planned today just as a small first step of our activities here in Croatia to show you what the market is about, who are the players, and we are definitely planning on making some trade missions in the summer or autumn next year, where we want to bring Austrian companies to Croatia so you can directly meet with the important stakeholders and talk business. And I think that's everything for today. Thank you everyone for joining us. Also, again, a big thank you to our experts who were here today, and have a great day.